What's going on, guys? Teen Mechanic here. I'm back with another video on the DeVille. If you missed the last video, I introduced it and I kind of went through it a little, saying, what does one with 45,000 kilometers, almost 250,000 miles on it, on the most unreliable Cadillac, look like? What does it look like? Does it still run and drive even? And the results were a little surprising. So if you want to find out, go to the last video. There will have already been a card on screen by now saying that you should go check that one out up in the top corner there. So go check that out if you want to see the first video I made on it. But anyway, this video, we're going to go through exactly what it needs, what's wrong with this car. I was very vague in the last video. This one, we're going to go through it, and honestly, there's not much wrong with it, so it's kind of going to be a short video. But anyway, let's start under the hood. So, under here we have the terrible, dreaded, awful Northstar V8. Now, this one is, like I said, if you missed the last video, it's a 2005. Now, in 2003, they revamped the Northstar. They changed up, how it even looked. Actually, I'm not sure what year they put this newer style engine cover on. I'm not sure if it was, between 03 and 05, or if it was like 05. I'm not sure when they put this engine cover on, but they changed it. Anyway, so they changed the head bolt design in 2003, and then I think again in 2005. And 2005 was really the only year where it's not like a guaranteed pop after pop after pop with the head gasket. I mean, it's really it's revamped to the point where it might actually even be a good car like this one is. So anyway, starting under the hood, head gaskets are not blown. It's actually, like, as far as I know, they're not blown. We'll have a video on that. But anyway, I mean, it's dirty. I mean, it's just from driving on the highway, and that's also from driving on the highway. We'll get to that in a minute. But I can't open this because it's at operating temperature. But anyway, this coolant reservoir here, there's a sensor in the bottom of it that tells, it's like a spring. Sometimes you can just knock them and get them working again, and it can free it up. But it's a sensor that tells, what the level is of the coolant. In the driver's information system, it says check coolant level, although this is full of Dexcool, of Valvoline Dexcool. The sensor that goes bad in these, it's common. It says check coolant level, this thing's full. Now, there's nothing you can really do. You can't replace the sensor, so you have to replace the entire reservoir. I mean, I think it was $54 on Rock Auto, plus a little bit of shipping. And honestly, to my door for the tank, and a couple other parts we're going to talk about in a minute, to my door, it was, I think it was $100 on the dot, like $100.84, something like that. Anyway, so you have to replace the whole reservoir, which I'll do. Some of them include the cap, some of them don't. Anyway, that's really it under the hood. Now, as for what else is wrong underneath the car, let me show you. There's a pretty significant oil leak. Let me show you. Probably wondering, why the hell am I coming back to the truck? Well, here is a piece of plywood that was under it for maybe 10 hours. And you can see, I mean, it's leaking oil. So if it's leaking that much in 10 hours, it's leaking quite substantially. So this car, I mean, it's leaking pretty bad. Now, it's coming from the oil pan gasket and the oil filter. Now, that, I mean, it might even be coming from like the oil filter housing, and then I have to pull that off the block. That is a terrible, terrible job, trust me. But the oil pan, that is a little worse, because GM, if you look at a Haynes repair manual or Shilton's or any repair manual that GM uses or any shop uses, they're going to tell you have to pull the transmission or transaxle out of the car. Now, that is a massive, huge job. That they tell you, I think it's 11 hours for a certified technician. I mean, there's ways you can get it done in less than that, but you still have to drop the whole subframe. You have to put an engine support brace on top. It's a huge cluster F. Now, there are ways you can do it with leaving this transmission in, and that's what I'm doing. I'm not separating it from the block unless worse comes to worse, but I'm certainly not taking it out. What are you going to do about it then? Well, there's this one bolt that's behind, in between the transmission, like where it extends for the axle going to the passenger side, and it's part of the pan, and that bolt is so hard to get to. You can either literally shave down a piece of a wrench to get in there and turn it vertically, like a screwdriver with a wrench, or you can, you can get swivel sockets, separate it from the block just enough to get one in there, And it's just such a massive PITA. Anyway, that is the most significant thing that's wrong with this car. Not a deal breaker, but something that's really significant, something to watch out for. Now, there are other things like cosmetic damage, like a headlight with broken tabs and faded lights, stuff like that. Now, if you come back here, it's rusting on the same spot on the other side. And it's missing the badges. It looks like, I swear this thing has had body work. Like, you tell me, does that look like body work to you? That sure looks like someone's done something with it. Like, look at this. Does that look like nothing's ever been done to it? Yeah, no. So anyway, that's a really super massive annoying thing that I have to do. And I'm really not excited. Now, another thing this thing has that is worth mentioning is the gas cap. Now, it says in the driver information, it says check gas cap, and it's got a check engine light on. So I hooked up my scan tool to see if the guy was telling me the truth that I bought it from, and he was. It says that it's got an evap leak, possible fixes, gas cap. That's the number 1. So honestly, it could be coming from the canister because it's mounted right under there. I mean, it's easy to scrape and bash. But this thing, I mean, honestly, it says check gas cap. I think it's a gas cap. It's cheap. That's where I'm starting. It's 18 bucks for an AC Delco one, so why not start there? Anyway, other things, it needs windshield pretty badly. I mean, you live in Alberta, you drive behind trucks on the highway all day long, you're gonna have this. It looks pretty, I mean, that's a smashed windshield. Now, on the interior, other stuff it needs, there's a couple other things it needs. Like, for example, the headlight switch, you either have to push in really hard to hold it on, because if you just, like, see, doesn't work. So this switch comes right off, so to turn the headlights on, you have to push in and turn on the twilight. Now, that's not, like, honestly, I'll just go to the junkyard and get a new switch. Now, that comes with all of this stuff. But anyway, I mean, even the font, all of it's still on. I mean, this isn't even on like 40,000 kilometer ones. I mean, you still have this is worn off, but this column shifter, I mean, it all works very well. Radio works well. Seats aren't even torn, like I mentioned in the last video. And, you know, I mean, it's got a couple little wear and tear, you know, items like this leather on this glove compartment. I mean, console. And the glove box latch on the interior. But honestly, I mean, everything works in here. There's no, like, the sunroof works. The only other thing that doesn't work on this thing, now it's worth mentioning this because it is a common issue. It's right back here. If you go in here, open this door, go in here, this window regulator here doesn't work, and these fall off. Like, honestly, the rear door panels, the rear window regulators are the first ones to go. Now, it is actually a relatively common issue in these, not nearly as common as the Crown Vics, but still common. Now, that is pretty much everything that's wrong with this car at 345,000 kilometers. Now, I mean, the rust, that's really annoying. I have to do something about that. But I mean, the body's pretty rough, honestly. Headlight, you know, things like that. But if I were to sort this thing out, I'd have a pretty awesome car. Like, if I were to just dump, say, $10,000 into it, like, come on, that's a really awesome deal. Anyway, that is really all that's wrong with it. I wanted to bring you guys this video because, I mean, a lot of you wanted to, you know, see more on this car. Last video was kind of to introduce it and to see, you know, does it even still run and drive. Now, this, I mean, that's what's wrong with the oil pan, really. That's what concerns me, but we'll see. I can't show this Cadillac and not fire it up. Here we go. Starts super easy. All the gauges work. I mean, we don't have much gas, but it's got a really good stereo. The camera just doesn't do it justice. There's the check gas cap, and if you go up on info, it should, no, I don't know. Anyway, I am done with that. I'm actually going to wait for this to cool down so I can take off the coolant cap. But anyway, if you enjoyed the video, give it a like. If you didn't, give it a dislike, but let me know in the comment section below how I can improve. Let me know what you want to see with this car. The LTD, man, okay, the LTD still needs an engine. I gotta make this quick because my phone's about to die, but yes, we still have this Cadillac here. I gotta do a photo shoot with that. But anyway, look at this. Still got the engine sitting here. It's got the flex plate and spacer plate sitting on it. Radiators. I cleaned out this garage. Yeah, so I mean, we still have this that needs to go back in. I still have, look at these. This is all parts for that one car. I've got pulleys. I've got all this stuff. I don't even know where it all goes. So this is going to be a massive massacre. I have to get this thing back in the car. Like, honestly, even if I wanted to scrap the car and not put the motor in it, like, that's not even an option for me. So I have to get this done. Let me know if you guys are still interested in that. I had a long streak of LTD videos, and that's, you know, I mean, if you guys are still interested, you gotta let me know. In fact, actually, I'm just noticing this rust down here. More stuff. Anyway, I am gonna get out of here. Thanks again for watching. Let me know if you want to see more on this car, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.